All right, welcome back to Fourth and Forever. I'm your host, Mark Sanchez, with the newest member of my family. This is a new puppy we got. His name is Chavo, which translates from Spanish to kind of like little boy, or little muchacho. Chavo is kind of like the Irish term for lad, that kind of thing. But he's a poodle pointer, and my other dog, Oso, is not a big fan. Watch. Oso, come here. Come here, big guy. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. Look at these guys. Look at them. Oso basically hates him because he used to be it in the family, He got all the love, he got all the cuddles, and now this guy's taken over. But that's kind of what's been going on with me recently. Other than that, I'm just excited about our guest today, Anthony Lynn, Chargers head coach. Here's what you need to know about Anthony Lynn. Humble beginnings from Texas, a single parent family growing up, and really his grandfather was the paternal force in his family and the paternal influence as he grew up without a dad. So a hard work ethic instilled in him from a young age. I do want to ask him about construction. I know that was a big part of his life, working construction. Ask him about his Super Bowl back-to-back appearances and victories with the Denver Broncos and John Elway, Terrell Davis, those kind of players, Mike Shanahan, and then how he moved into coaching, how he worked his way up the ranks. Talk about the different players he's had the opportunity not only to play with, but then coach. People like LaDainian Tomlinson, Thomas Jones, Sean Green, those kind of people that we share relationships with. Talk about the Jets a little bit, about how he ascended the coaching ladder quickly from position coach to assistant head coach, and then to coordinator, and now head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Thrilled to have him in. Not so thrilled that he kicked my butt on the golf course. Very excited about today's special guest, former coach of mine and a good friend, two-time Super Bowl champ with the Denver Broncos as a player, and has since shot up the coaching ladder, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn. Thanks for coming, Coach.
Hey, man. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Thank you for doing this. Sorry we didn't get all 18 holes in of golf. We had some budget cuts, so we could only hit 9, okay? But, I mean, I was amazing.
We'll work it in.
You're no stranger to golfing. You were just in the Classic here in Tahoe recently. How was that tournament? Tell me about it. Who'd you meet? Who were you most starstruck by? You can tell us here on this show. We don't tell anybody anything.
I'm really not a starstruck guy. I treat people the way I like to be treated.
That's right.
And it's just a lot of neat people for a great cause, raising money for American Century. But at the same time, it's a competition now.
Yeah.
It's a real tournament.
And how'd you shoot?
And I can tell you this, when I'm not playing tournament golf, I'm about 10 strokes better.
Okay. Very good. Very good. When did you start golfing? Where did that come from?
I probably started playing golf, Mark, seriously, probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those games where you think it's really easy. I played baseball in college, and high school, and golf ball is just sitting there and it's not moving. And you struggle to hit it where you want to hit it. It's so challenging.
Yeah.
I just love the game. I wish I could play it more, but unfortunately in my profession, I get to play 5 months out of the year. So I take what I can get.
Okay. So it wasn't one of those sports you grew up playing, but something you grew up doing was construction. Tell me about growing up, working on construction sites, building homes, and your parents, their influence, your grandfather, his influence. Talk about your home life back in Texas.
Someone's done their homework. Construction, that goes way back with me. I was probably 12 years old when I started. And the whole concept came about because I was really good friends with this family in my hometown, and they own a construction company. And I grew up in a single-parent home. I got tired of watching my mom work 2 jobs, and we still barely have enough.
Sure.
And so I just felt like as a young man, I need to go do something.
Yeah.
So I went and applied for a construction job with this company. I knew the family, and they said to me, "We're sorry, you're 12, you're turning 13 next month. We can't even have insurance, employee insurance on you. You're too young."
It's like child labor law.
So I'm disappointed. Yeah. I'm disappointed, and we have a football game that Thursday night. We're playing our arch rivals, and I scored 4 touchdowns and rushed for 260 yards, and the guy that owns the construction company happened to be at Texas A&M booster.
No way.
So he comes knocking on the door. He found me and goes, "Hey kid, you still want that job?"
He's trying to funnel you to A&M.
You know,
I like
that family ended up being like my second home.
Yeah.
And I worked for that family most of my childhood until I left in high school and went to college.
Yeah.
But I developed a love for and a passion for construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just creating a foundation, building a foundation, and then creating something from that foundation. You know, coaching is very similar to that.
Yeah.
And so I continued construction all the way through my playing days in Denver. You know,
Unbelievable.
I started doing fixer-uppers, and then I tore one down from the ground and built it from the ground up, and started building single-family homes.
I love it.
And so, you know, when I was done playing, I set the family down on the sofa, and I said, okay, Daddy can go coach football, because Mike Shanahan had just offered me a 4-year contract, or Daddy can stay in construction. What do you guys prefer? They all raise their hand, football.
They want to go to the game.
Yeah, they want to go to games, they want to be around the game, and so that's why I stayed in football and didn't leave at the time and start construction.
I love it. I mean, obviously taught you your hard work, your grit, your work ethic. I know I think it was your grandfather, right? Was your real paternal figure in your life. Is that correct? Because I know you said
that is correct.
Single parent, single mom, raising you. Mm-hmm. And then what did your grandfather teach you? Tell me the story about breakfast, about being on time for breakfast.
Yeah, you did a lot of homework. I tell you, he was, my grandfather was a disciplinarian, and you know, he used to pick me up from practice every day. And I remember one day he picked me up from football practice. He goes, "You know what? People around town say you're pretty good." My grandfather never really made it to some of my games and practice because he was working a lot. Mm-hmm. He said, if you want to go where you want to go in life, Anthony, you're going to have to run faster. Mm. And I said, "Grandpa, I'm the fastest kid on the team. What are you talking about?" And he goes, no, you don't get it. You're going to have to run faster. And I understand what he's saying now, because he understood that there are certain communities, there's certain races that are behind. Yep. And the playing field is not even, and you're going to have to run faster to catch up. And that's what he was trying to explain to me, and he did in a lot of ways get that across to me. But I never forget that conversation, because I think about it often now.
Yeah, especially now.
With what's going on in the world right now. But he was just a disciplinarian, and you know, and we had breakfast every morning at 6 o'clock. 6 a.m. You had to be at the breakfast table, and afterwards you had to go in the garden and do some garden work. Sure. So one morning, you know, I got up a little later, 6:15, and I go
cold breakfast.
I go to the kitchen. No, hot breakfast.
No, I'm saying, was the breakfast cold by then, or it wasn't?
No. The breakfast was in the slop bucket. I had to feed the cows and the pigs.
Yeah, baby.
And I look in the slop bucket, and there's all the breakfast. And Grandpa, well, what happened to my breakfast? And he goes, "I told you 6 a.m. And I was never late for breakfast again.
I love it. I bet not. Not if you want to eat. That's great. I love that. So then you pursue your dreams as a football player. You're a great player in high school. You go to Texas Tech, undrafted free agent, Giants. So you stop in Denver, then are gone, correct? You go to another team and then come back to Denver for the Super Bowls.
I go to the 49ers.
That's right, the Niners.
For 2 years, and went back to Denver.
And the only 2 Super Bowls were in Denver, correct? But still,
that is correct.
Some good teams in the 90s
absolutely.
with the Niners.
Oh, absolutely. We were really good. Actually, the Niners tried to get me in 94, and I agreed to come in 94, but I didn't want my first impression to be me coming off of an ankle surgery and being hurt. So I never showed up, but we actually won the Super Bowl that year.
No way. Oh, that's right, 94.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that was Steve Young's Super Bowl.
That was Steve Young's
right
Super
here in
Bowl.
San Diego. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So
wow. Okay.
Really was on 3 teams that actually won the dang Super Bowl.
Dang.
But Denver was. I mean, that was those teams I played, contributed and participated. So that was a little different.
I just remember when Rex would show all the old clips of coaches. You know how he used to. And your famous clip is the confetti's coming down. What'd you say? Super Bowl, baby! But I imagine you.
That was like a childhood dream.
Oh man, that's so cool.
I always dreamed of winning the Super Bowl. I'll never forget, after winning that first Super Bowl in San Diego, we were 14 points on the dogs of Green Bay. And we watched that tape, and we knew if we played them 10 times, we beat them 10 times.
I love it.
And we won the game. And I just remember Mark sitting in my locker room, and teammates are popping bottles and champagne, and I'm just sitting there, and I don't feel right. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You just won the Super Bowl, man. Celebrate. But I felt a little lost for a second. Yeah, because think about it. All your life, all you wanted to do was win a world, be a world champion, win a Super Bowl, and then it's done.
And
I never thought about what's after that. What's next?
There was only one goal. That's it.
That was it. I never thought about next.
We made it. I'm out.
And so it just kind of hit me, about an hour later, that it's not really winning the world championship. Sure. It's the pursuit of it.
Yeah, of course.
Of pursuing something special and doing something special like that with a group of men. And but that was interesting. My mindset, in about an hour, went, let's win another one.
Yeah, exactly, right.
In about an hour, let's win another one.
That's what you hear from everybody who's done it is, all right, I need it again. Let's do it again. Because I think you're right.
You got to chase something else. That's just the way I'm wired.
Of course. Of course, you're a competitor. And then as a teammate, one of my favorite teammates that I remember in New York when we were together was Tony Richardson, T-Rich. I feel like you were that kind of teammate, like supportive guy, or how were you as a teammate? You tell me. If I could ask your former teammate.
That's a huge compliment because I think so much of Tony Richardson. And so if I could have had the impact that Tony Richardson had on our football team, then I would have been a great teammate.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
But you were a good teammate.
I like to think I was a good teammate. I was very competitive, but at the same time, don't get me wrong, Coach Shanahan tried to replace me every year.
Yeah.
I was always the bubble guy. And he would draft one or two running backs every year, and it would just piss me off. And I would just, I would compete and run them off. And I'd tell Gary Kubiak, who was my offensive coordinator, I'd say, Kubiak tried to get me again, but I'm not going nowhere.
You're stuck with me.
But,
I like that.
But then they drafted a young man named Mike Anderson. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh boy, this one's different.
Real deal.
This was going to replace me. But I really felt compelled to help Mike.
Yeah.
And, Mike was excellent, and I helped him learn the playbook. We spent a lot of time together, and Coach Shanahan ended up keeping 7 backs that year.
Holy
and I was
cow.
the 7th back. He never had kept 7 backs before, but I knew Mike Anderson was going to win a spot. But he kept me around for a reason.
I like it. Yeah,
I'm glad he did.
You decide it was construction or coaching. Boom. Family decides coaching. We're sticking with football. And now you end up coaching with legends. I mean, Mike Shanahan, Parcells.
Yeah.
We were together with Coach Ryan, with Rex.
Mm-hmm.
What from those, or your early coaching days, your first salary, one of your favorite stories, one of your favorite players? Give me something from your early coaching days, whether it's Denver, Jacksonville, wherever.
I tell you, my first salary was really, really low. Coach Shanahan structured that contract uniquely. He wanted to make sure that I was committed to football. So I think he gave me like $80,000. My first salary.
And when you start coaching,
he gave me
grinding.
I was grinding.
I mean, you're making all the cut-ups. You're making all the copies.
I'm making all the coffee. You're talking about I'm doing everything. But he wanted to make sure that I was committed, and my contract was built low to high, and it increased dramatically, getting me back to normal coaching salary. But he wanted to make sure that I was committed. Right. And so I stuck it out, and once I made it through those first 3 years, then I took the job in Jacksonville in the 4th year. When I was going to make the most money, I left. I took a pay cut to go to Jacksonville because I wanted to be a position coach.
Sure.
And Jack Del Rio offered me an opportunity to be a position coach. And that's what I did. Coach running backs. Yeah.
And then from there was Cleveland?
I left Jacksonville and went to Dallas.
That's right. Okay, sorry. Dallas. So you go to Dallas, and tell me the story. There was a recent Super Bowl ad. I never knew this story. And when you were coaching in Dallas, off-season training camp in Oxnard, you go across the street to get a pizza, is that right? With Todd Haley?
I was with Todd Haley. It's my first training camp with the Dallas Cowboys. Grew up in Dallas, always wanted to wear that star, coach for that star. I'm in my first training camp, and we make it through camp. It was a good camp, and we decided to go out and grab some pizza.
Sure.
So I think this place was Tony's Pizza or something.
Yep.
So we go out, we grab some pizza, There's a little something going on across the street, and Todd Haley was yelling, "Hey, come over. Let's just check this out." You know, it was our last night in town.
Sure.
So put the piece in the trunk, start walking across the street, and here comes this car just flying.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you know, this guy's he's not gonna stop. So I back up. I'm still on my side of the road, but this guy swerves and just hits me. And he was going 55, 60 miles an hour, and I flew 50 feet in the air, 50 feet all the way across the street, landed on top of another car, totaled that car. Thank goodness I landed on a car, not the concrete. And somehow I survived. By the grace of God, I survived. And it's funny you brought that up because my wife and I, we were just driving from Monterey.
Yeah.
And we stopped in Ventura County.
Uh-huh.
And I called the officer because we still talk.
You called the officer that responded to the call?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I met him in the first responders commercial I did a couple years ago.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Jim Brittle and Craig Kelly, we stay in touch.
Wow.
And I just wanted to go back over to the site, and I wanted to show my wife. And I hadn't been since I left the hospital there in 2005. And he met me at the site. He knew the address. He knew all the details. He said he'd never forget that night. And we sat there for about an hour just 2 days ago in Ventura County, Santa Clara and Figueroa Street. And we sat there and we just talked. And I could not believe where I was hit and where I landed.
What were his first impressions on the scene? I mean,
he was a young police officer.
Oh, okay.
He was like 25 years old at the time.
Whoa.
And I believe he remembered every detail so much because he was so young.
Yeah, of course.
Had a huge impression on him.
I bet.
But we just talked through all the details, and he really helped save my life. I was struggling, breathing. I was bleeding everywhere. My face, you know, they did total reconstruction on my face.
Whoa.
My nasal and nose,
Whoever
it was all
did that
gone.
should get a raise.
Hey.
My man looks good still.
I don't know about all that, but.
So, okay, how many injuries? How many broken bones?
Oh, my face was shattered, my knee, my shoulder, lungs collapsed.
And you totaled that car.
Totaled that car that I landed on, and you know.
In the article, it says something. They were about to read your last rites. Like it was.
Well, they thought I was gone. I mean, Todd
Curtain
Haley was
call.
on the other side of the street. He watched it all. He said he never seen a human being fly through the air like that before. When he made it over to me, he just knew I was dead because I wasn't responding.
Yeah.
And I think after about 5 minutes, they said I opened my eyes.
And you asked about the pizza, if it was still warm?
No. I didn't know
Hey,
nothing
get the
about
pizza
no
out of my
pizza.
trunk real quick.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But no, actually, I couldn't feel my legs or nothing. I was paralyzed for the first couple of days. And I just prayed to God, man, and that I could walk again one day. And 3 days later, they stuck those needles in me, and I felt that. You know,
And how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital 2.5 weeks.
And then
They
walked out of there?
They tried to keep me for a month or longer, and as soon as I got my legs back, I started
Busted out of there?
busting. I started trying to bust out, man. And I crawled out, but I got out.
Pulled the fire
I
alarm?
was on a plane in 2.5 weeks, and they told me that was a mistake because I wasn't ready to fly. Yeah. And man, I didn't realize until I got in the air. When I got in the air, I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die with this plane. But I made it back to Dallas, and man, I started going back to work. You know, I was just determined to get back to work. It's my first year in Dallas with the Cowboys.
Unbelievable.
You know, I felt like I was letting the team down, Coach Parcells down because I wasn't there. You know, they hired me to coach the running backs. I wasn't there.
Did you talk to him in the hospital?
I did. I talked with them. And
who were your running backs at the time?
I had Marion Barber, Julius Jones, Lusaka Polite.
Okay.
You know, I had some pretty good backs. Kenyon, absolutely. I had a good backfield.
Dang.
Yeah, man, that was quite the experience.
I had no idea. I had no idea the whole time we were together in New York. Had no idea.
It's not something I go around talking
No,
about.
I'm sure. It just, and the Super Bowl commercial came out so well. And
you know why?
It wasn't
you know why I didn't want to talk about it? Because I kept thinking all these years, how in the hell did I get hit by a car?
Shouldn't have been standing there. Oh my God.
But the guy was 3 times the legal limit drunk, and they caught him.
Oh, no way.
They ended up catching him, you know, and
Whoa.
so.
What a wild story. Okay, so then you go from there to Cleveland. So you have that miracle. You go from there to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And normally a place where careers potentially go to die, you have another miracle.
You know, we actually won games.
Yeah, no, I know.
We've had the last winning
I'm giving you a
season
hard
now,
time.
but
Was that Derek Anderson?
Derek Anderson was
yeah,
our quarterback.
Braylon.
We drafted Brady Quinn.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right, before he came over to us.
Some good players. William McGinnis
Yeah.
was leader on that defense.
McGinnis was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Was that his last stop?
That was his last stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Joe had drafted Joe Thomas, you know.
I'd say that'd be a solid pickup.
So, yeah.
Okay. So then you go to Cleveland, your second miracle, your current wife.
Yeah, I got married.
I mean, she's the real,
she's the real
talent
deal.
here. We got to get her on the show. If we could ever get a hold of her assistant.
She's a real deal.
She's on TV in New Jersey or New York?
She was on TV in Cleveland.
Okay. Well, there when you met her, but
Fox 8.
And now she's in Jersey, or
she's just left NBC.
Okay.
She's in LA now full time.
Oh, whoa!
So,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she took some time off, and now she's maybe thinking of crossing over, maybe doing something in entertainment. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, if she needs any pointers,
we'll
you know, we have a
absolutely
thriving podcast. So
absolutely.
Hit us up. And then we go right to our favorite miracle. You survive this crazy car crash. Miracle, you meet your wife in Cleveland, and then you get the miracle of coaching me. How was that? Let's talk about the Jets.
Let me tell you.
Because 09 was that your first year too?
Before the Jets, that was my first year.
Yeah.
My son was a freshman at Penn State.
Oh,
and so,
that's right. I know
so
this.
I'm watching him in the Rose Bowl.
That's right.
Playing this talented USC team. They got this young stud at quarterback.
Oh, boy.
You know?
Oh, boy.
And that Penn State defense was pretty good.
I know, they were pretty good.
And so,
Aaron Maben, remember Aaron Maben?
Man.
Yeah, they're good.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching this young talented quarterback from USC just march up and down the field when he needed to. And I was like, wow, that's impressive. Because I've watched that defense at Penn State all year.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't know we were going to draft you because I didn't know exactly what we needed in New York. But when your name came up, I was like, oh, yeah.
There we go.
I saw that one up close in person.
There we go. That's cool.
He broke my boy's heart.
That's funny.
That was a hell of a game by you in that Rose Bowl. And so you had my vote.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So then we're together in New York. What are your first impressions of me? What do you remember? Feel free. Go ahead.
He had a great deep ball.
Yes.
I remember you. I don't remember if it was a move the ball period or if it was in the scrimmage, but you came in off the bench and Brian Schottenheimer went straight to a run action deep pass down the field, and you hit.
I think it was a Clowney.
You hit Clowney in stride on about a 60-yard bump. First throw. Yeah. I was like, that's impressive.
Here we go. Let's roll,
baby.
Like,
that's impressive, man.
And those are some good teams, man.
Oh, we had good teams. Yeah.
But I think the veteran leadership, especially my rookie year, Thomas Jones. Talk about Thomas Jones.
Oh, man.
Because you come in, it's your first year there. He's an established running back, been to a Super Bowl.
Established. And when you start getting coaching established running backs like Thomas Jones, and as strong as Thomas was, you can have some conflict there.
Sure.
And Thomas and I, initially we didn't get off on the right foot, but I learned to respect him. He learned to respect me, and boy, he listened. He became coachable, and just you look at his career. Everywhere he's been, he's had success.
Oh yeah.
He's brought unbelievable leadership to those football teams.
Yeah.
And I just know what it was like when he left.
I know.
You know, that was tough now.
And then you were working hard with Sean Green.
Sean Green.
And LT.
Yeah.
LaDainian.
And LaDainian came a couple years after Thomas left.
Yeah.
And so, and LT was just outstanding.
He was a stud, huh?
He was a stud. I mean, he became, the thing that I had a knock on him was his pass protection. I was like, you know, you got a back that's going into his 9th, 10th year. You know, he's okay at pass protection, but sometimes they don't change.
Sure.
Well, when he got there, we had to sit down and we talked about that. Mm-hmm. And what makes him great is he didn't take that as an insult or an attack.
Yeah.
When I talked to him about it, he took it as a challenge.
Sure.
and he became the best damn third down back in the National Football League.
That's so funny because when that would be my second year, and I was a little, well, obviously really nervous when I saw him in the offseason. I'm rehabbing my knee, and I see a locker made up for a free agent visit, and it says LaDainian Tomlinson, number 21. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, did we just sign LT? And I'm hobbling into the equipment room with a towel on after showering, and I'm like, hey, Gus, Vito, did we just sign LaDainian? And they're like, no, he's coming in for a visit. I was like, what? Like, this was like one of my idols, right?
Right.
So he's there, and I'm trying to play it cool. We go to dinner, and I remember
we went to your.
Yeah, I remember going to. I remember being in like pass protection meetings and stuff like that. So now that you say this, knowing this now, makes so much sense. But we're either playing. It was second or third game that year, my second year, and I'm like, he would break the huddle. As soon as we break the huddle, he would say whatever his flare control was. And it always reminded me, the last thing I heard going up to the line of scrimmage, I know where LT's going to be.
You know where he's going to be.
Right?
So it was smart by him.
So smart, because he wants to rock.
That's right.
At first, I thought, man, he's trying to help me. But no, I know what
he wanted to rock.
So then we're at the line of scrimmage. We're going through like this dummy cadence. And I say, hey, 23's coming over there. Don't forget to scan. And he goes, I already got him. I was like, oh, okay, LT. And I'm trying to show off like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But he was, he was a stud. So you've coached some amazing players.
No doubt. He's one of the best. I think he's one of the best ever.
Yeah. And then talk about Sean Green a little bit, because we came in the same class.
Sean came
Bruiser,
in,
man.
Oh, absolutely.
Tough.
Same year. If Penn State beats Iowa, they play for the national championship.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But they lose to Iowa, I think, by 3 points at Iowa. It was a hard-fought game.
And that was Sean.
But Sean Green, they could not stop Sean Green. I say, who the hell is that back?
I want him.
So we got that back that beat Penn
You
State,
got the back.
and we got that quarterback that beat Penn State.
I like that. That's great. So then you're an assistant coach with the Jets, a running backs coach, and then Rex Ryan makes you assistant head coach.
Yeah.
Thoughts, feelings, because that was a big jump for you.
Well, you know, Rex, I was offered a couple of times a coordinator position with other teams. And Rex, you know, he called me and he goes, look, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to take care of you this way. And, you know, the second time around, I really wanted to be a coordinator.
Yeah.
And so Rex was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you an assistant head coach. And he said, I'm not just going to give you a fancy title and more money. I'm going to give you the responsibilities of the assistant head coach.
Right.
And that prepared me more so to be a head coach than going and being a coordinator.
Than being a coordinator, sure.
Without a doubt. I spent a lot of time in those executive meetings, salary cap meetings, personnel meetings with owners and Rex. And man, he really looked out for me that way.
That's awesome.
And I thought that was a big reason why I was able to interview the way I did.
Right.
And get the job when I got it.
That's great. One of your favorite Rex Ryan stories? Let's go
it's
get a snack. What else?
Oh, it's too many. It's too many.
What else?
I mean, to go get a snack, I actually said that a couple of times at the end of my talk with the team. It was just
with the Chargers.
It was just natural.
Because he said it every time.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
It just came off my tongue.
Yeah, it only blew up when he was on Hard Knocks, when we were all on Hard Knocks.
Right.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
He said it all the time, and so after listening to that for 5 years.
It's just how he ended the meeting. Let's get a snack.
One day I just said, let's get a snack. Like, wow, that just flew off the tip of my tongue.
Did the players know where it came from?
They had no idea.
Oh, okay.
They had no idea.
I'm too old. Damn. That bums me out. Okay. So then you guys head up to Buffalo, and that's where you get to be a coordinator for the first time.
Yeah.
And talk about the challenges of being a coordinator, the difference. Like you said, you learned a ton as an assistant head coach, then talk about being a coordinator.
I tell you what, I think the offensive coordinator position in the National Football League is the hardest job in all sports. Everybody can call plays.
Yeah, anybody
At least
can call
they
plays. Yeah.
call plays.
Right.
No one tries to call defensive plays.
Yeah.
It's always that offensive coordinator position.
Oh, I can't believe he called that on 3rd and 3.
Why
didn't he do that?
I have little kids playing Madden, calling plays on Madden, trying to tell me how to call plays. I'm like, I had never been critiqued like that before in my life. And we had a pretty good offense that year.
Sure.
And that was just a great learning experience for me.
Yeah.
You never want a job the way I got that job. You know, we fired Greg Roman.
Right. That's
in
right.
week 2, and I had to take over in the 3rd week of the
That's
season.
a tough spot, yeah.
And so, you know, it's not your offense. So you gotta stick with what you're doing because you can't, you know, change everything at that time.
Right.
But I feel like the players, Rex, and the coaching staff, I feel like we made the most out of that. And we did some pretty good things that year on the offensive side of the ball. But
yeah. Was that Tyrod's year?
Tyrod was my quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm very familiar with Tyrod, telling him what he can do, what he can't do, and looking forward to him being under center this year.
That'd be awesome.
Leading our team.
So New York, 2 stops. There's New York, Jets, New York, Buffalo, New York. I mean, talk about
night and day.
Yeah, night and day, right? I mean, what?
I tell you what, Buffalo, I was pleasantly surprised because I'd never been upstate New York before.
Sure.
But
other than for games, right?
The people up there.
They love their football now.
Oh, they love their football.
We just had Josh Allen on the podcast, and he was telling me about Bills Mafia. I had no idea Bills Mafia was a thing.
Yes.
Even
it's
being
a real thing.
a Jets player, I didn't realize that these guys are lighting tables on fire and jumping on them and body slamming people before the game. I was like, holy cow. So it's intense.
They love football. They're very loyal to the Bills. It is a great community.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I just need good people.
Of course.
Good people and nice food. I'm okay.
Right.
You know, I'm okay.
Plenty of wings.
And the summers up there are unbelievable.
They're beautiful.
And they're very close to one of my favorite cities in the whole world, Toronto.
Toronto's great,
you know? So my 2 years in Buffalo, I met some really cool people.
Very good.
It was really good.
So then you climb up the ranks. Not only have you been an assistant coach, you're a coordinator in Buffalo, and now in the 56 years of the Chargers' history, you're the first African-American head coach, 2017. Yeah. What's going through your head? I mean, how was the interview? Tell me about the interview.
You know,
you sat down with the Spanos family and?
I feel like when I think they interviewed 12 people that year or something.
Oh, wow.
I feel like when we sat down and we talked, we connected.
Yeah.
It was no doubt about it. You know, we connected. And when they explained to me exactly what they were looking for and what they wanted in a head coach, I just told them, I was like, hell, you talking about me. You know? But we had 4 or 5 hour conversation, and I could just tell midway through that conversation we just connected on leadership, philosophy, personnel, you name it. Yeah. And what the Spanos family, you know, what they do in the community, I'm a firm believer in. And helping out in the community and making our community better.
That's awesome.
And they do an outstanding job of that.
That's great. So things aligned there. Then what were you, 11-4 in the regular season? 11-5, 12-4? What was it? 12-4, right?
First year, you know, we moved and we started 0-4.
That's right.
And we finished 9-7.
Right.
We finished strong, and the Bills. We beat the Bills that year, but the Bills beat us in a tiebreaker.
Correct. To go
to the playoffs. And I still don't agree with that rule, but you know, how can you beat someone by 40 points and then they go
to the playoffs before you, yeah.
But anyway, they win. They deserved it. And so we went 9-7, didn't go to the playoffs a year. Then the following year, 2018, we went 12-4.
That was the year.
You know, that team showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, won a lot of close games.
Yep.
A lot of come from behind wins.
Yep, it was an exciting year.
Played smart though, took care of the football. Mm-hmm. Both of those years we actually took care of the football. And then 19, we had some key injuries.
Yep.
But everyone has injuries.
And so Melvin holds out. Gordon holds out.
But I was mostly disappointed in, as a coaching staff, how we didn't find enough ways to try to win it. We lost 9 games by 1 score.
Yeah.
You know, we got to find a way to win.
Kicking game, special teams. Yeah.
Special teams actually at one point was the best phase we had.
Keeping you alive.
Yeah. What we didn't do was we did not take care of the football on offense. We finished 31st in the league in giveaways.
Yep.
And then on defense, we finished 32nd in the league in takeaways.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna win many games that way, Mark.
You don't have the ball enough.
You know. And Rex used to say it. Coach Paul Sales used to say it. You lose more games than you win in this league.
Of course.
And I feel like last year we lost games, and you know, and not take any credit away from our opponents, but I feel like we lost a lot of games.
To me, if you can go back to, this would be our third year in New York. We got Plaxico, we got Tone. I think that was the year maybe Dustin got hurt. But remember, we're going to play the Giants. We have like 4 games left. We have to win 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3, our final 3 games, just to make the playoffs. And that would be 3 years in the road to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Coming off of back-to-back AFC title games. And we're playing the Giants that week. Victor Cruz has that 90-yard touchdown, right, where 2 players miss the tackle and he's gone. And they go one way and we go the other, right? We just totally tanked, I felt like. And then the Giants just take off. To me, your season last year, watching, because obviously I'm a fan of you, I want you to do well. When Melvin Gordon fumbles on the goal line at Tennessee, I felt like that's where teams can go certain ways. And then, like you said, you find ways to lose games. Yeah. And I drew that parallel. So if you can, for somebody who's, an alien who shows up to planet Earth, explain that tiny, tiny bit in an NFL season, right? That seems like a lifetime, right? But like that little thing that can...
I tell you, momentum is one of the most underrated things in the National Football League.
Yep.
I believe the last time I checked, 82% of the teams that score before the half, regardless of the score, wins.
There's some crazy stats like that.
You go into that locker room with momentum.
Just a little juice,
just a little juice. I mean, and then you win a game like that in Tennessee, a hard-fought game. It went down to the wire the year before. We played them in London on the 1-yard line.
That's right.
And so you win a game like that on the road, boy, it can make a huge difference.
The plane ride's different, the food tastes different, everybody's
different. And, in the mood, the focus, it's like, here we come.
Yeah.
It's like, here we come. And then if you lose too many games like that, then you start doubting yourself.
And then it just becomes like, oh, man.
Then no one wants to make a mistake. Everyone's playing
too tight.
Yeah. No doubt.
Probably one of the toughest decisions you've made as a head coach, but you guys move on from Phillip Rivers, a guy who's been there, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play, especially to play and never win a Super Bowl. But, I mean, stats-wise, he's off the charts, and then there's like this changing of the guard. But it's him, it's Melvin Gordon. I mean, this is a new-look Chargers team. And give me some of your thoughts on those things, because sometimes it has to happen. In certain organizations, it happens. There comes a time when it's better for both sides to just move on. And so talk about that.
And we talked about it, and we had a great conversation with Phil. It was just time.
Yeah.
We felt like, and he felt the same way. And so I like the 3 quarterbacks that we have right now.
Yeah.
With Tyrod and Easton Stick and Justin. And so I think we'll be just fine. But I have no doubt Phillip Rivers will have a heck of a season.
Yep.
I have no doubt about that.
He'll be
Absolutely.
hungry.
Yeah. And Melvin, he's going to do well in Denver. He's a heck of a running back.
Now he's in your division.
And I wish he had gotten out of the division. But, it's just some of it comes down to, you got to have money to pay other players.
Of course.
And so you got to look at how you're going to allocate that and who you can move on from, who you can't. And we hated to move on from those 2 guys.
Yeah, of course.
But I do feel good about the football team.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, that was the next guy I was going to ask you about. Do you see any parallels between you and him? Undrafted, free agent guy. I mean, talk about his work ethic.
Yeah, Austin came into my office. I remember we were in rookie minicamp in San Diego before we came down. And he said, Coach, what do I have to do to make this team? I didn't even know his name. And I said, well, first of all, you're in the wrong office. You need to go down there to the special teams coordinator and get to know him.
Smart man.
And that's exactly what he did.
Okay.
And he made the team because of special teams. And every
Just
time
like Terrell Davis.
Just like Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
And every time he went in at running back, we moved the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was second group, third group. And so, but his special teams play earned him a roster spot. And then from there, he's grown into this position where he's this tandem guy that we can use out of the backfield and blitz pickup. We can use him out of the backfield as a receiver. He's a heck of a runner. You know, he's shifty. He has speed. You know, I think he's an outstanding tandem back.
Yeah.
I want to develop another guy that can hold the position down with him. But when we can use Austin in a plethora of ways, that's when he's most effective.
I love that.
If I got to just stand back there and give him the ball between the tackles 20 times a game, I don't want to do that.
That's a long day for anybody, right? That's
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
Running backs. The additions you guys made in free agency before we talk about Herbert and the draft. I'm going to say a player's name. You give me one sentence, one word, if that's it. But Brian Bulaga from the Packers.
Consistent.
Very good. What about Trey Turner?
Nasty.
Nasty. Very good. And what about Chris Harris Jr.?
Cocky.
I love it. He's locked down, man.
Tired of him being in my face, telling me what he's about to do.
You ready to see it?
So I had to go get him on my squad.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Okay, so we got a chance to sit down with Justin Herbert. Loved him. Went up to Oregon. Saw his pro day. I mean, talk about the ball jumping out of his hand just in a workout. It looks like a jugs machine. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And he can throw it a mile. He can run. He's big. I don't even know if he knows how good he is yet. Right. And I think he's in a great spot behind someone with experience, game playing experience, who can help mold him. But, I mean, what did you see from him in the draft? Let's start there. What did you see from him in the draft process, watching his tape?
You know, he just grew on me throughout the whole process. You kept hearing about the other quarterbacks, but the more I watched this guy, man, this guy's athletic.
Really
He's
athletic.
nimble. He has strong arm. He makes good decisions. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't beat you. He didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
I thought he could anticipate a little better, you know, throw some people open at times, but he was not going to turn the ball over very much. And so just his ability to move in the pocket, I sort of visualizing all the ways you can use a quarterback like this. And his work ethic and intangibles off the charts. So, I mean, this guy quickly became one of my favorite targets in the draft.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Then explain the process. Normally you get these workouts with players. You can bring them in for visits, all this kind of stuff. This year we're in a global pandemic, and now you're like FaceTiming with this kid all the time. How do you get to know somebody who's going to be the future of your franchise via FaceTime?
It's hard. It's harder, but it's not impossible.
Sure.
And we spent a lot of time on Zoom.
Yeah.
And some of the topics that we talked about were personal and very intentional. And so I make those guys get up whatever time zone they were in. They had to be up at 7 a.m. And if you're on the East Coast, that was 4 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
And so we meet with those rookies in the mornings. And we did that for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
And so I got to know a lot of the guys through Zoom that way. I mean, that's all we have.
Yeah, of course.
That's all we had. So I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
And so when they get here, it will be the first time I've seen them work together. But we do feel like, you know, we know one another.
So then you move up in the draft ahead of New England, and you pick up Kenneth Murray. Speed, physical, from Oklahoma. I mean, what else does he add to this defense? This defense is stacked now.
I feel like
stacked.
Well, slow down.
Come on.
Slow down now. Slow down.
They're good.
I feel like we needed some depth at linebacker.
Right.
The last couple years.
Okay.
And I wanted to address that position, and he just kept popping out at me. Just his speed, his physicality, but his leadership, his intangibles, the things that he does off the field are just as important as what he's doing on the field. I'm telling you, he is a dynamic young man, and I just throughout the draft process, I just fell in love with this cat. He became one of my favorite players.
But then on offense, I mean, so who will be the other back? Eckler and?
Well, I'm working on it. I mean, I drafted the kid at UCLA. If Justin Jackson can stay healthy, he can be a productive NFL runner.
And what kind of back? Like a slasher kind of back, or what's he?
He's a slasher, receiver type.
Joe McKnight-ish?
Joe McKnight-ish. Yeah. Not quite as elusive as Joe, but he's that type of guy.
Okay.
But he's just been hurt the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, and so I got this rookie out of UCLA. You know, he's a bigger body, bigger guy. He's going to get all the dirty work, but I need him to be full core special team guy. When you can do more things at the quarterback position with the 3 quarterbacks I have now,
Yeah.
when you can move, okay, then you take some of the load off of that backfield.
Yeah.
Because people have to account for the quarterback now.
Of course.
So Tyrod gonna hold 2 people on the backside every time.
Every time.
So now my guy's taking less hits.
Yep.
You know, he's running against a lighter box.
Sure.
You know.
And then, I mean, talking about those 3 quarterbacks, you made a comment about Kaepernick saying, hey, we'd work him out.
Yeah, I was like, why wouldn't we have Kaepernick on our workout list to work out?
At least check him out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know where his head is at and what type of shape or condition he's in, but if the guy wants to play like I'm hearing that he wants to play, we want to check him out and see where he's at.
I like that.
Because he fits what we're doing right now.
No doubt.
And this year, in this pandemic, we're going to need a surplus of players.
Right.
Because
right.
I mean, what's
Guys
going
are going to go down.
What's going to happen if 2 go down at one position, on a Friday?
Yeah.
Games on Sunday. You got to have a surplus of players waiting on standby every single week now.
That's true.
It's going to be
in
very
any year,
unique.
but especially this
year.
Right?
Especially this year.
You're right.
And
I guess the final question is: are we going to have football, man? What's going on? What are you hearing? Give us the inside scoop. We won't tell anybody, Alan.
I mean, I don't know. It's but I think we're going to do our best to come up with protocols and try to keep everybody safe, players, staff, and support staff, and play the game that we all love and enjoy. We would love to bring our product start on time, and I think our country could use a little.
I agree.
Excitement and football.
Bring people back together.
So if we can get it done, we will find a way. I'm trying to figure out how we come up with this name, 4th and Forever.
4th and Forever, you like it?
How do we come up with 4th and Forever?
I don't know.
No, it's unique. But 4th and Forever for me, that's a bad situation. Punt. We got a punt now. 4th and Forever.
Wow. Hey, Lynn, just bashing the brand. Are we going to cut that out? Are we going to cut that out? Do we need to change the name? 3rd and short? 2nd and 1? 2nd and 1? We got the whole playbook.
I love 2nd and 1 now. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely.
Wow. Comes on the show. First, he kicks my ass on the golf course. Then he comes on the show, bashes the name. So now you know what kind of guy we're dealing with.
I was just curious, 4th and Forever. How did that come about? Was it a play that we both shared back in the day, or was it? I like 2nd and 1.
Louise. There we go. All right. Well, we got a new name. Welcome back to 2nd and 1. I'm your open playbook. Okay. Well, that's a wrap. Man, Lynn, that was really ended on a downer. No, but I can't thank you enough for your time.
Yeah, man.
So awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, brother.
Like, share, subscribe at Mark_Sanchez, at 4th and Forever, Instagram, Twitter, all that. You know where to go. Thanks again for having us, and we'll see you soon.